Well, good morning here on the 25th of July, 2011, which is indeed my official birthday today, the 25th of July, 2011. I am now 32 years of age. Hard to believe. And what I'm about to talk about, some people may say, well, if you're 32, you shouldn't really be talking about this kind of stuff. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? There are people older than me that talk about this kind of stuff. There's a guy here on YouTube called Zani Zarik, who does the Multimedia Chronicles, and he's a fan of all things animation as well. In fact, you can watch his channel and currently what he's doing. And also, there's some people over at other message boards and stuff. They like this. They like animation, like talking about certain characters and storylines. There's I don't even know if he's around that much anymore at the Acorn Cafe or at the Rescue Ranger community fan base. Roy Jones is he called Ray Jones or something like that. So yeah, he's around. And he's supposed to be like in his 50s or 60s or something like that. So go figure. But anyway, yes, at 32 years of age, I'm going to talk about something here. And what I'm going to talk about is this cover right here. Issue 230. Now, this is the cover for Sonic the Hedgehog issue 230, which comes out in October. Now, apparently, as we could see, it sort of looks like Sally's alive. But, here's the real question. Why in the cover is she glowing? Now, I think we may have seen something like this similar in the past, maybe not. Not that I can really remember. And, you know, a lot of people at the message boards have kind of said that she looks like a messiah. If you know what I mean, kind of like a goddess, if you will. And, you know, we don't really know what this cover means. You know, a lot of times covers are deceiving. So, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. But, you know, there's a lot of theories that people have been throwing out even before this cover for the implage, if you will, of Genesis was released. You know, a lot of people had the speculation as to what was going to happen with Sally. A lot of people speculated that Sonic was going to bring the Genesis Sally back to Mobius Prime. You know, a lot of people, you know, figured, okay, Nicole sacrificed herself for Sally, that's why Sally's alive. You know, so on and so forth. A lot of people even speculated that, you know, maybe everything goes back to normal just before the whole situation occurs. Or with Sally nearly being shot. Well, here's the thing about that, folks. Here's the thing about that. We still don't know exactly what the final verdict will be. But all I could say is this. This cover here for 230 gives us a lot more theories to work on. A lot more theories to add to those that I've mentioned. To add to theories to add to other theories, like I mentioned, like Sonic trying to bring Genesis Sally back. The Mobius Prime. Nicole sacrificing herself for Sally, and so on and so forth. But there's one theory that I brought up recently, and I thought about this for the past few months, even before Genesis occurred. You know, because it seemed to me that Ian could go in this direction. And what I'm talking about, folks, is what if Ian decides, and again, like I mentioned in some of my posts on the message boards, I wouldn't put it past Ian Flynn to do something like this. But wouldn't it be a surprise if Ian Flynn decided to bring this story arc to an end? This little situation with Genesis, prologue, story, full part storyline, and then implage, if you will. What if he decided to bring it all to an end by having the one thing occur that nobody probably would thought he would do? But again, like I mentioned, I should say, in my message boards, I wouldn't put past Ian to try something like this, to pull a stunt like this, because it always seemed possible. Ever since that side story that I think Carl Bowlers or Ken Penders or whoever, maybe even Ian Flynn, but I don't think so. I think more Ken Penders or Carl Bowlers, somebody. Ever since that side story, one of those three did, where Sally switched bodies with Nicole, thus inspiring Nicole to create her current Lynx body, if you will. I've always had this thought in my mind of what if Nicole and Sally merged? That's what I've always thought. What if they merged? Now, I know some people think, well, if they merged, some of physical and mental traits of both would be combined. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Not both physically, not necessarily, mentally maybe, but not physically. You see, you want a good example of what I'm talking about, folks. There's an anime I recently discovered. It's called Birdie. Is what it's called. That's what the anime is called. It's called Birdie. Now, Birdie, from what I understand, from what I've read, is an anime and a manga based around the story that I guess this I don't know what Birdie is. I don't know if she some kind of law enforcer, some kind of an officer, some kind of outer space galactic officer or something like that. But basically, the story is the young man that gets injured in the line of fire is on death's bed, right? So basically, to heal him 100%, to physically heal him 100%, Birdie basically uses this ability to merge with him. Thus, they end up sharing one body. The thing that I don't think Ian would pull here, but again, I wouldn't put it past him, but I don't think he would pull it. The difference, though, with Birdie is that she switches in and out with this young man. So when you see Birdie in her physical form. But when the young man has to appear and has to be seen physically, they switch out. Now, again, I don't think Ian would do that here with Sally and Nicole by having them switch bodies in and out. No. I think basically what I'm saying is I would not be surprised if Sally has to share her mind and her body physically with Nicole's personality and everything. So in other words, the only way for both to survive, I'm guessing, is to become one, but in Sally's body. To me, again, I would not put it past Ian to do something like that, to have Sally merge with Nicole and vice versa. In fact, one person said, I was looking at my, I think, at the Sonic Stadium or something like that. I was looking at the Sonic Stadium. I think it was the Sonic Stadium board, I believe. Yes, Sonic Stadium board. And basically, one person said during this post, because they said this after I mentioned it, they said, oh, I don't want Nicole to die. And one person said, well, technically she wouldn't die. It'd be more like she'd be merging, her and Sally's personalities would be merging. In other words, her and Sally, like I mentioned, would become one. Not switch out bodies physically, but physically in Sally's body, but everything would be one. Now, the first person that responded to what I had to say about this on the Sonic Stadium board, if I can find it, I think the first person to say something about it, if this app of mine won't go so fast, is Lamatron Kun, or whatever the name is. This person mentions, after I first posted this thought on the Sonic Stadium, they said, but yeah, wouldn't that be a random shock to all? Kind of with a laughing icon on there. I thought that myself when I got 225. Who knows? And that's from the first person, and that's from one of the posters on Sonic Stadium. After I mentioned the fact that, what if, Sally ends up merging with Nicole? Which, again, like I said, I wouldn't put it past him. Because I basically asked, this is what I asked on Sonic Stadium, and I cut and paste and put this on some of the other sites. I said, is it me? And this is what I said on the message boards. I said, is it me, or does it look like Sally merged with Nicole? I wouldn't put past Ian to do something like that. That's what I said on all the message boards. And then another person after this, called Baking Blue Potato, or Potato, Baking Blue Potato, says, yet another credible theory. Actually, that makes more sense than Sonic taking Genesis Sally back to Mobius Prime. And basically my answer to both of them and to anybody else that posted afterwards on all these sites is exactly. This is what I said after those two responses. I said, exactly. And that could be the event that affects the comic over the next year. Sally sharing her body and mind with Nicole. So, and then it's Cunning Condor on the Sonic Stadium that says, I'd hate to see Nicole die, though. She's one of my favorite characters. And then Shattuck93, after that, responds to Cunning Condor by saying, not technically die, just her and Sally's personalities merging. Similar to what happened to Omega and Gamma. She'd still be alive, just a part of Sally, and vice versa. If that was the case, that would make her and Sonic's relationship awkward, to say the least. Actually, how that would be possible? Oh yeah, Chaos Emerald. That's what he says. But, and then Marcello of basically says, I hope not. I like Nicole more than Sally. But again, folks, that just gives you an idea. It just gives you an idea of what people are thinking right now. Because I'm pretty sure if I wouldn't have said something like that, I'm pretty sure there'd be others out there that would have said something like that. Guaranteed. Someone else would have said something like that. I guarantee you that. You know why? Because it just, to me, the way Ian Flynn is, how he always likes to twist us and everything, give us these sudden twists and surprises, again, I wouldn't put it past Ian to pull a stunt like that. I mean, yeah, it would be very intriguing to see how Nicole and Sally would have to work in concert, if you will, sharing the same body. It's basically it's kind of like a story that one of my favorite fan fiction artists or writer, one of my favorite fan fiction story writers, wrote recently. And this story is called The Fuzzy Navel. And one of the main characters is called Selah. I guess that's her name. And she's basically a living plushie. She's a living plush doll. And one of her abilities is that she can merge. She can have a human merge with her. Or she can merge with another living plush doll. And basically they would take on the traits of each other. She wouldn't change that much physically. The only things that would change about her would be her hair, maybe mixing in and making a hybrid or becoming the dominant hair. Her eyes would change color or something like that. And that would be about it. But what I'm saying, folks, is that's sort of what it sounds like. That's sort of like what I feel could happen here. It's like, okay, Sally wouldn't change all physically. The only thing different about her would be that she and Nicole now are one and they share the same body. You know? Now some people like on the on SonicSatAM.com, the thought about this is like Mistress Ali says. Also, this is after she says some other things on her post, but she says, and this is Mistress Ali. She says also, Sally merged with Nicole sounds like a rather good guess. So in other words, Mistress Ali feels that that's a better guess than, the other is a better theory than all the other theories people brought up. Now, Spock to Block on SonicSatAM.com, I should say, says, and after he says a few things, he says, I hope that is not the case. I hope that isn't the case, he said, actually. This is what Spock to Block says on SonicSatAM. He says, I hope that isn't the case. Sally merging with Nicole, it would look like a cheap means of giving her a power boost. And quite frankly, I'd rather not see such a thing happen to her, to either to her or Nicole. That's what Spock to Block says. Now, Laser X5 basically says some things. Says, basically he says, he just says, why am I not surprised? Ian sure likes to keep things nice and suspenseful, doesn't he? But he'll wait till the issue comes out before judging it. He admits the cover doesn't look promising, and it's basically 50-50 chance Sally is back or not. He says Ian just likes to play his game, and that someone should draw a picture of Ian Flynn in a white lab coat, laughing like a mad scientist with the comic on his table, adding his own personal touches to it. Now, the last post on this is from DCC, and it says it does seem like Sally is going super in that picture or something. You see, some people honestly, some people don't like, the idea of what could be, and I'm not trying to say that's exactly what's going to happen, but, to me, I've watched so much television. I've watched so many shows on television. I've read so many comic books that, again, I wouldn't put it past Ian to do this. I mean, Ian like I said, Ian likes to throw some curveballs, right? I mean, this goes back to the whole Sonic Universe Silver Saga. Towards the end of that Silver Saga, no one saw Lala Sue, aka Janaka, if you will, Lala Sue Janaka, if you will, becoming the first angelic good, the first ever good / angelic, and the first ever female Urajak. No one saw that coming. No one saw her becoming the first female Urajak, but especially the first good and angelic Urajak. No one saw that coming. But Ian pulled it off. So again, Ian could do this as well. But like we've all said, covers are deceiving. Covers are very deceiving. I mean, go back to when the Iron Dominion saga took place. One of the covers had Bunny on top of Sonic, and it asked the question, Bunny gone bad? And Bunny did not go bad. Her cybernetics were just being controlled. So, basically, what I'm saying, folks, is I wouldn't put it past Ian to do something like this, but I also wouldn't put it past Ian to tell the artist, hey, draw it like this, so they can keep guessing. But what I'm saying, folks, is this cover is very intriguing, and it does bring up a lot more theories and guesses. Now, some people at the Saturday Morning Sonic forum, the SaturdayMorningSonic.com message board, when I posted this, one person, which I think is one of the moderators, her name is Estero Dragonwings, one of her first posts is, with a question mark, it says, Glitch Bob? Please don't go there, Ian. Basically making reference to a situation a similar situation, I guess, in the Reboot series, in the Reboot CGI cartoon series. Now, another person called David Lynch says, wow, that would be really fucking gay. Then again, Nicole being a retarded looking Link thing is already pretty fucking gay too. Now, I don't really agree with what he said there, David Lynch. I don't agree with David Lynch said there, but hey, that's his opinion. He's entitled to it. Now, Estero Dragonwings says she doesn't like the idea, and that the Glitch Bobs, like I said, was a Reboot reference, and it was the first thing that came to her. Now, Porfis Muffins says it's a pretty sweet cover. LaserX5 says that he also agrees with what Dragon Rings said, but also asked the question, but who's to say Ian wouldn't pull off a move that crazy? And then he puts a YouTube clip on there that he says best describes the cover. So, in other words, even LaserX5, despite what he said at the SaturdayMorningSonic.com forums, also says something similar to what I said, that it wouldn't be surprising for Ian to do something like that, because he always likes to try something new. And then Estero just posted something this morning in response to what David Lynch said, but it doesn't really have to do much with what's going on with the cover. But what I'm saying, folks, is I really wouldn't put basically what I'm saying, folks. When I saw this cover, and I post those little posts that I did, just those brief posts on all the sites, cut and paste, if you will, the same thing over and over. Basically what I'm saying, folks, is I wouldn't put it past Ian to pull a stunt like this. I wouldn't put it past Ian to say, hey, you know what would be really intriguing for the next year or so for the Freedom Fighters, for Sonic and the characters to deal with? How about we have Nicole merge with Sally? You know, have Sally still there physically in body and soul, but have her and Nicole sharing the same body. Again, this goes back to that fan fiction story that I talked about called The Fuzzy Navel. One of the scenes in there had the original owner of Sayla near death. So what the original owner wanted to do was merge with Sayla and be with her forever. And basically pass on her traits, everything she knows, her knowledge and everything before she died. Now, I'm not saying that Sally will be near death's door, so Nicole has to merge with her to save her. I wouldn't be surprised by that, because it would be something. But what I'm saying, folks, is I wouldn't be surprised if Nicole says, look, Sally, I'm going to merge with you. If Ian Flint has Nicole said, look, Sally, I'm going to merge with you. We'll possibly become one, but I'll be passing on everything I know to you. Because think of it this way. If you're a critic of Ian's, and who's not a critic of Ian's, I mean, either we've had some good criticism of him or bad criticism. You know, wouldn't it be something if Ian basically, kind of, as the old saying goes, kill two birds with one stone? You know, because basically the council. Let's take a look at some of the what could really lead to something like this. Let's take a look at it for a second. Let's take a look. Let's take a look, folks. Let's take a look at what some of the situations that could lead to this. That could lead to this possibility, this theory that I'm talking about. One, Sally has been shot, and the only way for her to survive, is for Nicole to merge with her. Two, Nicole basically sacrifices herself, and the only way for her to survive is to merge with Sally. Okay, there's a few theories there. But then let's take a look at the background theories. Now, recently, before the whole Genesis thing started, the council basically began to vote to shut Nicole, basically started to vote to have Nicole shut down because they didn't trust her. So what better way, possibly, to kill that bird with a stone, if you will, for Ian, than to have Sally and Nicole merge either way that I mentioned, or just out of the fact that they need more power to defeat the Death Egg. But what better way for Nicole to survive and possibly not be shut down if she temporarily merged with Sally? Because in that way, the council wouldn't have any choice but to say, oh, great, now we can't get rid of Nicole because she's a part of Sally. We're just going to have to deal with it. And again, that would be great intrigue for the next year or so, I guess, in Ian Flynn's mind, because basically you would have Sally, you would have the Freedom Fighters, you'd have the council and everything, and anybody else like Eggman, Nagas, and whoever, trying to figure out, okay, how do we beat the Freedom Fighters now? Like in Eggman's case, it's like, okay, how do I beat the Freedom Fighters now with the princess and that cybernetic links as one now? How do I do that? And then you had the Freedom Fighters and maybe the council going like, oh, like on the Freedom Fighter side, you could have someone like Sonic going like, okay, I can accept the fact that you guys are one right now, but that can't last forever. You guys got to have your own lives. And again, I wouldn't be surprised that with this whole thing taking place for a whole year, for the whole next year, I wouldn't be surprised if this leads to possibly Nicole getting her own physical form without having to worry about being, detached or being part of something. I mean, it could come sooner than we think, but I'm just saying. And then on the council side of things, storyline-wise, with the way Ian writes, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's thinking about this right now, or if he's already jotted it down for the next year or so, I would not be surprised if Ian Flynn says, you know what? Has the council go like, you know what? We wanted to shut down Nicole, but now we can't. And this would possibly be like from Eliza's side of things. If he's still king, he'd be like, you know, we wanted to shut down Nicole, but now we can't because she's a part of my sister. She's in my sister. I can't do anything to my sister, so we can't really do nothing to Nicole. You know, I'm just saying, folks. I'm just saying. Again, I would not be surprised by that. Because there's a lot of scenarios you look before Genesis and during it that could lead to that situation. I mean, put yourself in Ian Flynn's shoes, ladies and gentlemen. Put yourself in his shoes. What would you do if you wanted to intrigue people for the next year? If you really wanted to make your Genesis story arc, prologue, actual story arc, and implage interesting and memorable, what would you do? Would you cheaply kill off one of your most popular characters? Or would you find a way to have people talking about that character in a, not in a hateful way, but in a way that's saying, oh man, I didn't see that coming? Because again, there's a lot of other media out there, animes, cartoons, comic books, where you've had similar situations. I mean, you go to DeviantArt. You go to DeviantArt, and there's two groups out there that I like, called the Morphine Mansion and the Morphine Academy. And some of the artists that are part of that academy and that mansion group, those academy and mansion groups, they basically write stories and they draw art sometimes that depict characters merging, but still keeping their personalities. You know what I'm saying? Still keeping their personalities separate from each other, even though they would decide at times, hey, let's just refer to ourselves as I. You know, we're still separate, but let's just refer to ourselves as just one person. You know, I'm not... Again, you know, to me, that's exactly what sounds similar here. It's like, what if it does happen? What if Ian decides to go in that direction? And Nicole and Sally are like, you know what? We're separate mind-wise, but we do share the same body now. But our personalities and our minds are separate. So again, wouldn't that be something to think about? Because it would really be intriguing for a lot of people to go down and say, hey, you know what? This is really interesting. This is really interesting. I didn't see that coming. And, you know, and to me, I think it would be, like I said, to me, it would be a way for, I guess, in Ian's mind to kind of, kind of push all the negativity away from the character that, you know, a character like Sally has been getting. You know, kind of push it all away and say, hey, look, now you can talk about this about her instead of always hating on her. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if Ian was to pull a stunt off like that. And like I said, you take everything I've said, all the scenarios that have happened before this storyline-wise, and again, I wouldn't put it past Ian to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this. Yes. And thus, one, it would be something nobody saw. It would be a climax no one saw coming. And it would get people talking about the character in a more positive and more intriguing way instead of just hateful. So, but again, I wouldn't put it past Ian to try something like that. And all those people's posts that I mentioned, and I'm pretty sure Tross, a friend of mine, he's going to do his own post on that eventually. But I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Ian pulled a stunt off like that, because that cover, again, like this cover right here, gives a lot of possibilities. Gives a lot more possibilities and theories to talk about. And everybody has agreed so far that I've read. Some of the posts that I've read, either somebody's already posted the cover on a site, or if I'm the one that's posted the cover on the site, some people, a majority of some of the people, have said the same thing. On one end, some of them have said that they don't like the idea and hope it doesn't happen. But on the other hand, some have said, a majority have said, that it makes more sense. It actually does make some sense for Ian to pull a stunt like that. And you know what? Even though I'm not at the Bumble King forums anymore right now, I wouldn't be surprised if there's somebody that probably brought up this theory already, or probably is a member of one of these sites here, and went over to the Bumble King forums and said, you know what? That one person that's no longer here, that person, that I don't know if they would mention my name or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if they said, you know what? One person had a theory that maybe Sally's merged with Nicole and vice versa. I mean, think about it. Again, it would be something of a twist, a twisting climax that nobody would really see coming. And it would have Ian, and it would give Ian the reputation of finally having people talking about a situation and wondering for the next year or so, okay, is this permanent or is this just temporary? Because no one would really know. No one would really know. So, but these are just my thoughts and theories and everything that I've mentioned on the message boards and that I'm mentioning here on the YouTube channel of mine. And you know what? There's another person, Sasaki13, that does the posting of the covers. And they agreed with me right here on YouTube, and they agreed with me as well that they wouldn't put it past Ian to try something like this. So, but overall, these are my thoughts on what I feel could be happening with the issue. I mean, again, I wouldn't put it past Ian to try something like that. And again, there's a lot of people out there that agree. There's some fans and maybe a lot more that read the post that are going to watch and listen to this video that would probably agree with me. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And that's really all I'm going to say about it. And give me your thoughts below. Tell me if you agree or not. Do you think Ian would attempt something like this? Do you think perhaps Ian is just keeping us in suspense even more? Do you think Sally will live after this? Do you think Nicole will live with it after this? And do you think, again, that Ian might write it in to where at the end of it all, Sally and Nicole are one? So comment down below if you like, and just tell me what you think, and I'll talk to y'all later. God bless, take care, and have a good 25th.